Hi guys, and welcome back to our channel. I'm Ember.
And I'm Wren.
We're here, we're queer, and we're chronically ill. So let's talk about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
We are here, we are queer, and we are chronically ill.
We're going to be diving into some personal and vulnerable topics, specifically love, intimacy, and how they're affected by chronic illness and disability.
Just a disclaimer, we are not medical professionals. This is just our personal experiences that we want to share on the internet to help you guys out.
Maybe not help out, but definitely help you feel not as alone.
Yeah, share our stories and let people know that there's a lot of us out there.
Yeah, because it's something that's not talked about anywhere near enough.
So a little bit about credentials. So I am a disabled veteran. I also struggle with multiple physical and mental chronic illnesses as well. I'm pretty new on my disability journey. And I met Wren several months ago while I was in that process. So Wren, why don't you go ahead and start off by telling us a little bit about when your disability journey started and what...
I have always managed my mental health through medication and therapy. I believe that every single person should be in therapy because we live in a traumatic world. It was very uncommon for people who were AFAB to be diagnosed with ADHD at the time frame that I was diagnosed. I also have some struggles with PTSD because unfortunately I do have a background of childhood sexual assault and abuse. So I've been in counseling since I was like 9 or something like that. Physical disability has been a much newer thing for me. I was the person everybody called when they needed help moving, or when they wanted some furniture put together, or, when they couldn't manage to put IKEA things together all the time. That was like the big phone call. But I used to be able to do all of those things, and then in 2015 I was in a car accident, and that car accident changed the entire way that my life was going. In the accident, I was driving my car down a one-way street, and there was a red light on the other side, and a guy ran through the red light and hit me. I'm really lucky that I drive stick shift and that I know how to do it well, because I saw him out of the corner of my eye just in enough time to pop it into a lower gear and push forward enough that he didn't slam directly into me. I then met my soon-to-be ex-wife on March 20th of 2016. And at the time, I didn't realize that I had herniated discs in my back. I didn't realize that I was having the problems and struggles that were going to become my life. I had seen a doctor. Unfortunately, when it comes to medical things, not all doctors are great. Not all doctors want to listen. And that's one of the hardest parts about disability and chronic illness, is that when you don't have a doctor who wants to listen, it's hard. But
it can be definitely hard to find a doctor that will listen and hear your feelings and kind of relate to you on that level. I've definitely went through a slew of doctors as well. Some of them can be very dismissive or write it off as being some other kind of ailment.
Yeah, mine was written off as muscle pain, and I was prescribed muscle relaxers. Mm-hmm. Even though I had very specifically told the doctor that it felt like my foot was going on and off, like numb, pins and needles tingling. And fortunately or unfortunately, I knew what that meant because my mom had a disc issue very similar to mine, but not from a car accident. And so because of that, I went to the doctor going, hey, could this possibly be a herniated disc? And he was like, nah, there's no possible way. We're not going to do an MRI or anything. I'm just going to prescribe you some muscle relaxers and send you on your way.
Oh, because of the insurance. I don't want to pay for it.
First of all, I had just started a new job 3 months prior.
Oof.
Yeah. I was working for Valvoline Instant Oil Change. And I was changing oil in cars. I was doing tire rotations. I was doing actual, the underside of the car oil changes. I was a very physically capable human being for the first 3 months of my job. And then I had this car accident, and it left me out of work for 6 months. While I tried to figure out what was going on with my body, and to heal just from the car accident in and of itself. After that, I got to go back to work, and that's actually, I was working there with Wren met me because I was still working my physical job as though there weren't any problems with me, because I didn't think that there were. I had my first back surgery on November 18th of 2016. So about 8 months after her and I got together, which is honestly, I don't know why she stayed, even because we didn't get married until 2019. But she stuck it out with me through my first back surgery.
Talking about your soon-to-be ex-wife, Wren, she was actually supposed to be here today, but life happens and things came up. But hopefully soon we're going to get the chance to sit down and talk with her so she can tell us her side of the story of that kind of journey with being somebody that went from being able-bodied very quickly to being somebody that had much different and greater needs, that was going through all those surgeries and learning about the challenges that would bring. Plus, not to mention the mental health issues of it. Like,
it was a severe struggle. I'm not gonna lie. There is a reason why she's soon to be ex-wife, and a lot of that does have to do with how hard it can be to love and be with someone who has chronic illness.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of honesty and communication and transparency with where you're at and where you're going to be. It was hard. It was rough because we had just moved in together. She didn't know anything about caring for somebody who had to have that major of a surgery or what to do. I became fully disabled. Well, what was it? 9% whole person impaired from an injury that was a work injury. And I spent like 3 years trying to get that figured out. I got hurt in the end of 2018, and I went through all of 2019 and the first part of 2020 just trying to do that physical therapy and rehab stuff. And then they finally decided, hey, you do need to have surgery on this. So I had a surgery on my wrist, and I went from being able to, at least be moderately helpful around the house, carrying laundry baskets up and down the stairs and doing like your daily activities that you have to do to live. Why aren't you able to do this thing? And I'm like, because I could get in trouble. I could lose my finances, and I could hurt myself some more, and I don't want to do any of those things.
Yeah. I definitely understand the hurting yourself more, but I also am with Wren a little bit where it's like it is a little frustrating how paranoid you can be sometimes, but I get it as well. You're very analytical, follow the rules, buy the book. If you're enjoying our content so far, make sure to like, comment, subscribe down below. Also, feel free to leave us a review if you like it. If you don't, then just move on along.
You've been wanting to say that. Physical therapy has its place. I wouldn't be where I am today without physical therapy. I still currently do pool therapy. The reason I'm in pool therapy, though, is because there was another chronic illness that I didn't really know about that kind of got activated because of the car accident and everything. I, at the very young age of 30-something, when I got diagnosed, have psoriatic arthritis.
Well, that's the hard one for you. I know you're struggling with that right now, actually. You do that 3-month injection and it's starting to wear off now.
4 more days before I can take my injection.
Oof.
My entire body hurts right now.
We'll work through it. It'll be all right. I'll support you.
I know, you always do. But my hands feel like they are made of cement.
Ooh.
It's weird. I think that's one of the best things about where we were at when we met, was I was already really far into my journey, and knew that, like, hey, I'm not going to be able to do these things, and I was able to share that with you from the get-go.
We as in us meeting, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We as in you and I meeting. Like, I think that having the ability to say, hey, I have a disability, is this something that is this something that you can handle?
You were very well on your disability journey already. So you were very upfront about what was going on. You already had that experience and were kind of able to walk me through what that looked like in terms of what kind of extra care you needed, what you could and couldn't do, as well as like you had kind of like a roadmap of how you would get the extra support if and when I wasn't able to provide it for you. And honestly, that gave me a lot of reassurance because it was something I didn't know about. And so, feeling like I was like, oh, here's this super cute queer person and they're telling me this thing that's kind of hard, but I'm also like, they seem like they know what they're doing. I trust them. So it hasn't always been easy, but we've worked through it really well. We've had a lot of really deep conversations, and if anything, I feel like it's strengthened our relationship.
Yeah. I would say it definitely has. It's definitely made communication a lot easier. Part part of the thing is that disability awareness changes how you build a relationship. Well, honestly, the only real disability that came out of the car accident was the herniated discs. But that then set off a chain reaction of other things in my body that started going wrong or that I started learning about that I didn't know about. Well, let's start with, I have GERD and IBS, which is gastroesophageal reflux disease and irritable bowel syndrome.
Yeah. And I think we had some tomato-based rice or something with our dinner last night, and it did not settle well with their tummy. I actually kept, at one point, I had to really reconsider. I was like, I don't know if I can sleep in bed next to this person anymore, because you kept gassing me out. And I was asleep. I slept through it, most of it, and I remember I had dreams about Shrek and his kids in their swamp and how stinky it was.
And then I, like, literally, about the time I woke up, I hear you going, whoo! More about the headaches.
Oh, yeah.
And I was down for 3-4 days after the last headache that I had.
It's like almost a week.
Yeah.
You were, stuck up in your room with the lights turned off, quiet, no sound, no light. Yeah. I couldn't even really be in there with you because just my presence of making any little bit of noise was too overwhelming for you.
I vaguely remember you coming in and being like, here's some food, honey. And I was like, why is this person standing over me? Oh God, everything hurts. But I was really thankful that you brought food in and made sure that I had something to drink and were taking care of me in the ways that you could. So.
Yeah, because when you're in those like really deep moments, really struggling with pain, you don't know how to ask for things. You don't know how to ask for pain medicine or food or water or the cool ice headband thing that you have.
Yeah.
Luckily, I know your house well enough now. I know where those things are at, so I can go and get them for you.
Yeah.
And try to help.
I think that's another thing that has been helpful in terms of our relationship is having our own spaces to go to and being able to, when we are having those really bad days, be able to say, hey, I need this extra space to just take care of myself. Or being able to say, hey, can you come and be with me? It's been really, really good.
Yeah, I think it definitely takes the pressure off as well because we have the opportunity to go back to our own space if we just, if we can't handle it. It's like, hey, I would love to support you during this time, but I don't have the bandwidth. And that unfortunately happens when you are in that situation a lot.
That actually reminds me kind of one of the things that that reminds me of one of the things that I wish that I could go back and redo differently in my relationship with Wren, actually, is that I was unable to see her pain and how she was struggling because of how much pain I was in. Pain really can do a lot of different things, and that was one of the most hurtful things on my side of things to the relationship. Wasn't able to see how badly she was hurting and how badly her mental health was declining, because she also struggles with mental health issues.
Yeah. If you could go back in time, what would you change to be able to get that extra support? Or what would you tell yourself about that, like, just advice?
Honestly, use your full support system. Don't just rely on one single person. That's the biggest mistake. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that we made as a couple together, is her and I tried to just go through it, only the two of us and together, instead of like reaching out for family, reaching out to and relying on friends. I think that's another thing that has changed too, since I've met you. Is prior to meeting you, I met some really, really awesome people who understand trauma, who understand chronic illness and disability, who understand what it's like to be different and to not fit into the societal mold that so many people feel like they need to fit into.
Like our super awesome editor back behind the camera.
Our super awesome editor back there behind the camera. No, he is one of my favorite, like, newer people in terms of support, but it's like my roommate. He is I absolutely adore my roommate. We are going to probably live together for the next forever because he struggles with mental health, and I know what it's like to be alone, and I don't ever want to leave anyone alone in that. So I choose to spend my time with him, and he's really good for me too because he understands not only the mental health issues but also the physical health capabilities and struggles, and he doesn't ever make me feel shame or guilt for having those struggles and for doing things a little bit slower of a pace, because honestly, when you're disabled, you have to sometimes do things at a much slower pace. Some people don't have a family of origin that they can lean on for support, whether it be because of, adoption or because of loss or because of age, things like that. And that's where you have to work on making a found family, having that support system around you. There is a saying that it takes a village to raise a child, and it's not wrong. It takes a village for us all. We all need community. And that's one of the biggest reasons why we're doing this YouTube channel.
Yeah, a place where we can all kind of come together, help uplift each other, share our experiences, and just feel like we're not alone in this.
Yeah. Remind everyone that burnout isn't just something that disabled people experience, it's something that can hit our loved ones too, which means that we may need to give them some extra support or to encourage them to go and find support somewhere else, whether that maybe be finding resources for them, there's a lot of groups that are out there for families that are disabled and struggling, or maybe helping them make their first counseling appointment if they've never made one before. Things like that are always helpful. That's actually one of the reasons that we're building this channel. We want to have a place where support and understanding of being both queer and disabled can coexist and help uplift and support each other.
Yeah, I'm definitely really excited to build this online community so that way not only we can share our experiences, but so can the people in our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. We always want to remind you to please seek support if it's necessary.
Whether that be personal or medical.
Yeah. I was gonna say specifically medical treatment. Don't feel afraid to go and seek that out. Yes, it may take going to a couple of different doctors or a couple of different therapists to find the one that fits you. None of us was meant to be alone, so please like, share, and subscribe to our channel where we all can feel a bit more supported.
If you're still with us, we want to say thank you, and we're proud of you for sticking around.